I remember coming home one night after a big fight, and I run up to the kitchen, I get ice, and my hand's swollen, and then just another day at work. There was a time in my life when I said, if I'm not a star by the time I'm 18, I'm gonna have to get out of the business. I remember the studio exec looking at me and his food almost coming out of his mouth and going, Vinny, we're not even sure we wanna make this one. How could you talk about 3 movies?
Hi guys, it's Ray here from RayNewland.com. Hope you're fitting well. Now before you watch this video, please don't fall into the trap what 99% of people will do. They'll watch videos like this, get all excited, and guess what? Do absolutely nothing about it. Now I've been helping people get into the 1% for nearly 20 years now. So at the end of this video, I'm going to give a link to a website where you can get a load of free videos that will show you how to implement and take advantage of what these success tips that these famous people are given. So at the end of this video, please make sure that you click the link and go and get all these free videos, and more importantly, implement these success traits into your business or personal life. Have an amazing day.
One of the interesting things about the way that I did it was, or one of the interesting things about being paid the amount of money that I'm being paid now for film, is back in 1996, I was working to make movies.
Yeah.
So whether I, was saving $3,000, putting a savings of $3,000 together, which at the time was a feat,
Yeah.
or working a whole year telemarketing to save $47,000, I was taking that money and investing it in my career and investing in something that I believed in.
How do you invest in your career?
Well,
at that stage?
At that stage, if people aren't offering you roles. The interesting thing about being an actor, it's different than the other art mediums. If you're an actor, you're dependent upon a director, a screenwriter, a producer, a studio to fund it, a studio to market the film. I mean, even after I made Strays, I didn't have, and I went to dramatic competition at Sundance, I didn't have a distributor. So I could only make the film, and thank God there was a forum.
Yeah.
Thank God Robert Redford had put together a forum for these films to be shown. And even then, even after you make the film and you put the film in the can, you still have to have somebody come along and spend money to distribute the film. So as an actor, you need all these external factors to be artistic. If you're a musician, you could woodshed and make music. If you're a painter,
yeah, you can do it alone.
You could do it alone. And being an actor is a lot less autonomous. So I needed to find a way to fulfill all those other positions. I had to learn how to write screenplays.
Yeah.
So I went to college and learned how to write screenplays, and I was horrible in English in high school and became an English major in college. I started directing and learning how to direct and learning really about the film business, which is probably the #1 thing that separates the unemployed Vin and the employed Vin. It was the understanding of Hollywood and the understanding of the business and the understanding of strategy. Because so many years I was just concerned with the craft, and all I thought about was how to make the craft as good as possible. Yeah. As you know, I was a bouncer for many years. I remember coming home one night after a big fight, and I run up to the kitchen, I get ice, and my hand's swollen, and then just another day at work. And I was feeling like just bummed about the fact that I was still doing this job after all this time. And at that one moment, I was like, why are people, what's up? Why do people have so much anger? Why do I have to, why is this my daily life to suppress everybody's anger or check everybody's anger that comes into the giant 3,000 person nightclub? Mm-hmm. And my father, it was so simple, but my father said, You know, Vin, I've traveled around the world. I've been to India, I've been to Russia, I've been to China. I've been to all through South America, and I've realized something. I said, what? He said, people by and large are good people. Sounded pretty simple, and yet it meant so much. And if you look at my Facebook page, or if you look at the way that all that positive energy, I don't think there's a page in the world, in history, that harbors as much positive energy as one would see on this Facebook page. And it's
what you put out too.
And it's really that.
Right.
And I say that because if you believe that in your heart, and not everybody watching this can say that, or is ready to say that, or is comfortable with themselves enough to say that. But if you really believe in your heart that people, by and large, are good people, it affects the way that you address the world. As you see, post in and post out. I address a world that in my soul I feel is comprised of good people.
Sometimes you see someone having enormous success, and there's just something about them. You say, good for him. And I think not just me, but when I read about the responses to you, lots of people are saying that. They're cheering for you to have the accomplishments you have had.
I feel that. I've always felt a sense of support. And I think that my struggle to achieving this goal and achieving this dream is something that speaks volumes. I started out acting at 7 years old, and I struggled for so long. There was a time in my life when I said, if I'm not a star by the time I'm 18, I'm going to have to get out of the business. And of course, I jumped to 21, and then 25, and then I'm looking in the mirror just past my mid-20s, and I haven't received health benefits in SAG. And we all know that in the Screen Actors Guild, you got to make $7,000 in order to be eligible for health benefits. So, in fact, I didn't get health benefits until I was 30 years old. Even while I was shooting Saving Private Ryan, I wasn't covered. And I think that kind of rise to fame is something that's empowering for people. So when they celebrate that story, I think that they're also celebrating a story that's about a guy who was proactive and resourceful and did pay his dues and did struggle and persevered.
And believed in himself?
I think you have to. I think the only thing I had for so many years was this confidence that I held on to very tightly.
Was it a difference in confidence and arrogance? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
You just knew that you were getting the skills necessary to be good,
right.
And when moment came, you'd be ready and could deliver.
Right. I needed to be confident, at the risk even of being arrogant. I needed to be confident because I had nothing else. And if you go into a situation where you're dedicating your whole life to something, literally your whole life, all of your decisions are made with one common goal, then I think that you'd better believe in yourself, especially if you start to work to save money, to make films. I think you could ask most people in the world and they would tell you that I'm not Hollywood. And I know, but I mean, but in a good way. And it's not a bad question to ask because it's not even so Hollywood. How do you stay grounded when you have 90 million people waiting for you to say something? So while I'm here right now,
and this will go out to how many ever people, at home, I know the second I hear boom and my computer comes on, there are 90 million people waiting to hear something. That's tricky. How do you make sense of that? What would Marlon Brando have done if he could have? Would there have been a sequel to On the Waterfront? Maybe. If there was some fan out in Texas that said, I can't wait to see another On the Waterfront.
So, do you feel the pressure constantly, or
family
liver, or?
I do feel pressure. Family keeps you grounded. Because my toughest task is not going to be unlike that other guy's toughest task. And the toughest task is to be the best parent you can be. We all share that. To be the best person you can be. We're all growing as individuals. We're all growing into our better selves. Those are the things that I stay focused on. I don't even know if I'm that grounded. I live in a fantasy world of scenes in my head and future. When I came here and I was about to do Fast and Furious 4, they didn't think I was grounded when I said I can shoot 3 movies at the same time. They thought I was insane, and they were like, security, get him off the lot. They never imagined it. I remember the studio exec looking at me and his food almost coming out of his mouth and going, Vinny, we're not even sure we want to make this one. How could you talk about 3 movies? Who cares what happens in 4, 5, and 6? And now, the only thing they want to know is what's going to happen after this. How surreal.
Incredible.
It's incredible. I had been acting since I was 7 years old, so that's always been a comfort zone. People would often ask me, what do I enjoy doing more, acting or directing? Because I started my career as a director. And I would say directing offers me the opportunity to tell a story. Acting is more of a therapeutic process for me. Because as a kid, I was always, like most kids, curious about my identity, in search of my identity. And when you play a character, the parameters of that character and that identity are clear. There's something therapeutic about that. There's no guessing games when you fall into character. So if I'm not in character, and I'm usually in character, unlike other actors that can turn it off when the director says cut, I've never had that ability. I'm usually somewhat in character even after the director says cut.